The clouds, that's a rendering issue on my end, not anything to do with the actual game. It's just because I have an AMD graphics card. There's a beauty that surpasses beta Minecraft. Look at what I'm looking at over here. That does not generate in beta Minecraft. Modern Minecraft versions occasionally, like, they feel a little bit almost forced. The genius of this land generation was kind of never replicated again by Notch. This is my favorite cobblestone texture. I don't care what anyone has to say. Something about it is just so striking. It's got that extra definition. It feels like all other versions of Minecraft have attempted and failed to hit the same notes that alpha Minecraft has, and you get this really sense of familiarity with everywhere that you're at, despite it mostly being just grass and trees. For as far as the eye can see, grass, trees, and lakes. You never get the sense that it gets repetitive, because like no matter where you go, you have beautiful lakes and mountains and cave systems, all forming just completely seamlessly through the entire environment, and it never clashes. It never feels like the programming for the generation is getting all messed up. It always feels strikingly unique every single time that you walk through and load up a world. And that's one of my favorite parts about this version. When I was hosting one of my servers on this alpha versions of the game, me and a friend of mine just walked out for like 10k blocks in one direction, just generating terrain and like taking screenshots of everything, because look at this. This is gorgeous, and it's really like the color palette is there's sand, there's water, and there's green grass, and there's stone. And somehow I'm never quite taken by the beauty of the Minecraft world in the same way, or as strikingly as I am when I load up a beta version of the game and I start wandering around. You've already found a place you could build like your house right here, and it's been like 30 seconds of walking and you've already found it, like, gorgeous place, and I can walk literally anywhere else and there'll be some new nook and cranny that you could totally like chill in. It took like 10 years for Minecraft, maybe even longer, for them to get back to this level of terrain gen, and even then, because of how varied modern versions of the game are, you don't quite have this unifying factor to the worlds that you explore. No matter like how far you walk, it will always have the same color palette, always have the same simple leaf, oak tree leaf, water, you know, so a little bit of sand, a little bit of gravel, a little bit of stone, and it's always the same. And yet, like, look at that, it never fails to catch your eye in a way that just modern versions don't do that. Like there can be certainly some interesting locations that are generated, but they're never as consistently interesting as I find alpha versions of the game. This is probably just nostalgia talking, but there's something about just a pit of gravel near some sort of ocean thing that just is very striking. Like, I feel like an underrated part of like the art, the beauty of especially older versions is, or even just current Minecraft, is the terrain generation. I feel like alpha Minecraft is really like the pinnacle of just how beautiful a computer generated world could be, with such simple like build like blocks and simple color palette and simple materials that are presented to you. Like, honestly, at times I feel like it can be almost breathtaking. You really get like some sort of like hyper crisp, very like, well, obviously retro, but still striking image. Every time I'm walking around, I go like, this feels like a thumbnail, you know, moment right here. Like, each one of these, it really feels bigger than it is almost. I'll even say like all of the most famous textures in Minecraft, like diamond sword, grass block, creeper, they were all created back in this version of the game. You know, diamond pickaxe, and those textures, you know, when Minecraft updated, were either barely changed or not changed at all when they introduced the new texture update. And I think there's a reason for that, because Minecraft's textures were, you know, a lot simpler back then, and the newer textures, I think, if you really like compare, because they have a higher level of quality to them, and because of that, I think they lose a lot of their simplicity and strikingness, because there's like a certain, there's a certain art to caricature, and I feel like when you take away the number of pixels you have to work with, the more you have to rely on the impression of an idea, of a sword or a pickaxe or an item that you use in the game, a pumpkin or a crafting table. The amount of information your brain gets to kind of fill in lessens when you add more pixels and more information to what the eye sees. And there's a certain magic. That's why like pixel art, like really simple pixel art is still like a popular art form, because it leaves a lot to the imagination in a sense, and really does effectively caricature like the image. And you could say that like Minecraft terrain generation is like a caricature of real life, right? And I feel like the very simple copy pasted textures with this like uniquely interesting and complex world generation really does do that imprint, that caricaturing of Minecraft in a very beautiful way. I mean, even look at this sunset, like this. There's just something about like an old Minecraft sunset. The way the stars really light up the sky, the moon is like there, and the way it just slowly fades out in the back there, the sun. It is something that is just truly very very striking, like more striking than a Minecraft day and night cycle in the current version, which is something to think about, because there is something about Minecraft that does feel oversaturated, like bloated. There's a lot of extra stuff. People might try and make the point that it doesn't detract, because you don't have to engage with new Minecraft content if you don't want to, which is totally fair. But at the same time, there is a certain something that I think is sort of reflected in Minecraft terrain generation, which like the bloating of the Minecraft's just the game itself, with a lot of like features that aren't properly realized or fully fleshed out, and a lot of stuff that has just no purpose really other than aesthetics, that you can kind of see. Even like just like think of like dorite and what is it, the white and the pinkish like blocks that you can mine. I don't even know the name of the other one. There's three actually. There's another one that's like not stone, but it's just like sort of stone. It's like grayish. Like anistite, dorite, and something else. Literally, those are just aesthetic blocks. Somebody was just like, yes, we must add another block to that you can mine. Why? Literally no reason. Because are we gonna make it like a useful improvement to the game? No, we're not gonna do that. Like Minecraft already has the filler blocks, which is the sand, the dirt, the leaf that don't really do anything, don't add any gameplay purpose, and it's fine to have those, right? But even sand can be used to make glass. But what can dorite be used for? Nothing. It's like the only thing it does is like I think you can make polished dorite, which looks kind of cool, but beyond that, there's no actual necessity to it. Like in in these versions of the game, like sand had a purpose. It still has a purpose in the modern versions, but like most blocks, have a purpose. Stone, you mine it. Clay, you mine it. You get bricks. Bricks are an aesthetic item, but they are I feel like more striking than dorite is in that aesthetic way. And even then, like, that's fine to have aesthetic items, right? But it's like the bloating of the number of aesthetic items, because when it comes down to it, the number of ores in here, what can clay, not really practically useful. Dirt, not practically useful. Leaves, not practically useful. I can't really think of any other block in the game. Netherrack, maybe, and there are certain blocks that you need as like a filler, but that will like generate the world with. But everything else is useful, and even dirt you can grow crops in. Netherrack is kind of useless, but it's like, okay, it's the number one filler item of the entire thing. There's no use for netherrack. But and there's not really any practical use for clay. But every other block in the game, I really can't think of one other than those two in this version of the game that doesn't affect the gameplay in some sort of important-ish way. Which it's not which is a lot. It's a lot easier to name off blocks in the current version of the game that are completely an aesthetic thing that do not push the gameplay forward in any capacity. Oh boy, it's about to become a chasing. Like, look at this. We're on like some sort of you know, bridge. It almost feels like. It's like this is really, really good terrain generation for a game that, you know, doesn't even have not oak trees. Every tree is an oak tree in here. There's nothing else there. And I think you could say maybe you could make a case for cactus maybe having no use, except they're sort of a defensive block. Yeah, I've seen people use them as that, and I don't think dyes existed back then, but you know, it's like 4 out of all of the rest of the blocks in the game that generate naturally that are not useful. And it's like in current day Minecraft, like there are so many variations of leaves, so many variations of, you know, diorite, all those crappy ones. There's the end stone that's also kind of purposeless. And it is kind of just a little bit like interesting, at least, to think about how much more of an emphasis like Minecraft had on making things useful. Like with the pumpkin, like I don't know if when they added the snow golem or not, but regardless, eventually they made a purpose to having a pumpkin. They you know, you mine a pumpkin that generally, you know, you farm it, and then once you farm it you can wear it, but once you wear it, that means, you know, endermen can't look at you. Not in this version specifically, but that's kind of cool. And then you can also make a snow golem. Not sure what version. I feel like it was probably an alpha or beta version. You know, there's a purpose to every single item, but with current, like, more modern Minecraft versions, there are really not as many blocks that get added that you go, wow, that has like a very interesting purpose. Like maybe the most recent one that I thought of was the like detection sulker weeds or whatever, shulk weeds, I forget. I think that's what they're called, that were recently added, because that adds an entire component to the redstone mechanic, which is really interesting. Like even like redstone, you know, like for you, every block in the game really does have an interesting use. I mean, redstone, it's not really like a I mean, redstone can be used to make all sorts of things that are like, you know, mob farms, you know, cool piston doors. So it does advance your gameplay in some regard. Yeah, I think I've made my point enough. Not to say that modern versions are bad, but it is interesting to note the amount of like bloating that you see in these the newer versions. Like there's a lot of extra stuff and a lot of extra types of things that don't, I feel like, justify their existence a lot of the times. Like most of the stuff that Mojang has added post Notch really hasn't felt like it's added to the game at all, like in a like mechanic sense, and it's mostly just felt like they're decorative, especially mobs. Like every mob in current day Minecraft, with the exception of like maybe the zombie and the zombie pigmen, are like the good additions to the game, I think. Obviously, first off, you need an enemy. So all the zombie and pigmen, all of those like serve their purpose as being the enemy. So that does check it off the list. There's nothing that's just like let's say at llamas. Those are in modern Minecraft. They add nothing to the game. You know, like a pig is the only way you get pigs outside of pigmen, which is good at the cooked pork chops. Sheep is the only way you get wool. Spiders are the only way you get string. Bones, the only way to get bones are from skeletons. The only way to zombies, they drop feathers in this version, and that's a little like whatever. But once again, you need a basic enemy at the very least. Same with the pigmen in the nether. Ghasts don't really drop anything, but I feel like The Nether's supposed to be like a hellish location that's really annoying to be in when you're in it. It's kind of supposed to feel dangerous, so, you know, having a dangerous enemy, even if it doesn't drop anything. But even like cows, they drop leather sometimes, and that is an essential part of the game. You can't get leather without killing a cow, you know, and so it justifies the cow's existence in the game. Look at this. This is just naturally generated. Minecraft never makes stuff like this anymore. You know what I found? This right here, in the old versions, this is just gonna be like a little thing. There is not gonna be any like connection to another cave, right? This is really just like a weird generation of the terrain. But in modern Minecraft, it almost feels like formulaic, because I'll look at this and I'll go, I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that there is a cave behind there. Like, have you ever seen that, like, little pockets? And it's like, oh, little pockets. You're like, that's cool. I wonder where that goes. And then the answer to that question is, it goes deep. It always goes deep. Every single time you go into a little pocket, a little crevice, it goes straight, like, it goes into a giant cave. And it's like, that's cool, because that adds to, like, the gameplay to it. And, you know, and adds to that. But it does feel, like, so consistent, right? That every single hole leads to something. That it feels like, you know, feels way more gamified, whereas in this version it really does feel more like I'm traversing a landscape. I'm not really traversing a game, you know, landscape. I feel like I'm in like some sort of like, you know, that this world doesn't exist to amuse me. It just kind of exists, right? And I feel like modern day Minecraft is kind of moving towards that idea of making the, you know, the world exist for me instead of just existing and then I get to make the fun out of it, right? Like, they added like a, you know, the end, and they actually can complete the game, you know. That's like, before that never existed, and that wasn't a focus. The focus was, here's a world that has all these different mechanics, and then like iterate upon that, do some cool shit with that if you want. You know, obviously you don't have to. You can kind of just chill and just walk around if you don't want to build anything, or build something. And then people, they did that, and in modern versions it's like, now you need an incentive. Now you've got to, you know, you've got to kill the Ender Dragon. Once you kill the Ender Dragon, you got to kill the Wither. Once you kill the Wither, you gotta you gotta kill like whatever the other new one they added was, the weird blocks, I forget, the Warden. Kill the Warden. And then, you know, to do all of those things, you have to gear up your gear. You know, you have to have really good gear to fight the Ender Dragon. You have to get all the Ender rods. You have to go raid the dungeon. And it's like, that's cool, but it's not like survival in a sense. A lot of people, you know, they make this comparison where it's like, current Minecraft's more RPG, like more conquest based, and then old Minecraft is very much survival based. It's like you versus this world. This world isn't meant to entertain you in that sense, where it's more you exist within a world that you have to entertain yourself in, because you are the only thing here, you know. And I kind of like that tone, because there's a tone shift from old versions of Minecraft to new versions of Minecraft that I don't think is even look at this. This looks like somebody's just digging, you know. It's even with the knot, they didn't generate like a piece of this. I don't even know what's up with that, but I like it. It's kind of like little quirky little add-ons to it that makes it feel more like it's like some sort of worn out world. What is over there? We have to go over there. That is weird. I just saw some weird terrain generation. But it is like a tone shift that I don't think is just nostalgia. Actually, what the frick? What the frickin' frick? Oh, okay. I thought somebody had placed like a bunch of dirt. It looks really weird, but actually, it's just like a weird pillar here. Look at that. See, this is such a unique little like mountain range here. It's very hilly. I like it. I think it's not all of it is definitely not nostalgia. I think there is a genuine merit to especially the single player experience on here being very different. Multiplayer is always obvious multiplayer as well. Like this, there's similar experiences for alpha versions of the game and beta versions of the game, but I think the meta in newer versions of the game are very like single player and multiplayer get very, very switched up when you hit the meta with all the other people. When you add multiplayer into the game in newer versions, it kind of changes things. You have a lot of like post-game issues that you wouldn't have in alpha and beta servers when they're playing. It's kind of the same experience as survival, but when you're playing it on a multiplayer server in the modern day on current versions, after the post game, you feel like a hit. There's a certain hit in interest and fun that it is filled by the fact it's a multiplayer server, but there are also issues that come along with that aren't really an issue in older versions, and stuff like a lot of the items, like item hoarding, and like a lot of farms, game breaking stuff, like the bar of like how much stuff you can do in newer versions. There's a lot more gadgets to get, a lot more stuff to collect, and a lot of ways to get around doing that. And then once you get to that level, you kind of never have to worry about ever falling. Like obviously it's once you fall down, like if you die, it's a lot harder. It's to climb back up because it's so big of a distance. But also, like, look at that, that's beautiful. But also when you get to a certain level, no, there isn't really a mob in the game that can kill you once you get to a certain level of enchants besides another player, and then it really removes the survival element, and then you're just like, what am I, a god of this world, going to do? Because I have my Prot 4, Unbreaking 3, Mending gear with my Efficiency pickaxes and all that other crap. You feel untouchable, and I think it's like a very legitimate feeling of not being unkillable that you get. This is in single player too, but with single player, usually people who play that are a lot more gold driven, so it doesn't really matter. They want to accomplish a goal, but if you're on like a server, it's like more fun to be trying to survive with your buddies and then like scrounge out a living, and then I feel like with beta versions of the game and alpha versions of the game, the level of when you die and then you're able to get back to where you were is very small. There's only 4 blocks tall. That's rare. I'm gonna leave it. You can really build, like, you can like get back to where you were like really quickly, because you get a full set of diamond gear. Eventually when you're wearing it, it just breaks down to being as useless as like leather armor, because it's just tied by like the more hits you take, the worse your armor gets. And I actually think that system is a huge key factor in the like survival aspect of Minecraft, because the way the armor starts to degrade makes you perpetually vulnerable to even the most basic mob. Once you get full diamond gear, the zombies don't matter. Even when you don't, like the introduction of sprinting and being able to consistently sprint faster than all other mobs in the game makes them almost like not even like a challenge. They're just annoying, right? But in these versions, it's also there's part of it comes from the bugginess of the game. But you start fighting a zombie, you're going to take some hits. You run into a skeleton. God forbid you run into a skeleton. You're just gone. There's no more of you left because you're gonna be riddled with 1,000 arrows, and it's gonna suck you. You're gonna take all those hits because you can't dodge them. You can barely dodge them because you can't run. You're running the same speed the skeleton can walk, and so you have to, charge head first, get rid of the threat as fast as possible, and then hope another one doesn't come, or that like spawning in, trying to like survive your first night, it's just hiding in a hole all night. That's still a real thing. Like when you play these versions, and you revisit these versions, and you're trying to be a little more serious than what I am here. Sticking around in one area instead of just constantly walking forward is going to, you're gonna be hiding in your little hidey hole. It's a lot tougher, I think, than current versions. Because current versions, you can just do whatever you want. Zombies are like the actual enemy of the game is a secondary like threat to. Like you're more likely to starve to death than you are to die to a zombie. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I hope you've enjoyed my ramble. This is more serious than my last one. I've just been felt like I'd make an actual try and just articulate some feelings I have about alpha versions of the game, and you know, actual like all old versions really, but yeah, and make a nice little sequel to the video that I posted before because it did really well, and maybe you guys like this format better. Yeah, so thank you everybody, and I appreciate you listening. I appreciate your ears being open and hearing the words that I am speaking this far into the video. I appreciate it. Thank you everybody, and goodbye.